Happy New Year, friends, and welcome. Today is Saturday, January 11th, 2025, and I'm Diane, the Creative Inkster, and I'm kicking us off for day two of our Global Inspiration Stamp Team presentations. This is our first one for 2025, and our plan is to go every other month with some amazing projects to share with you. So I'm going on faith that everything is working and the video is out there and everyone can see me. So I'm just going to forge ahead. Our focus during this one has been the new mini catalog from January to April 2025 and Celebration. And those are the products I want to share with you today. I hope you watched some of our videos yesterday and got a chance to see what the other gals were sharing. It's a really cool new mini catalog. I love the layout. I love the soft use of all the different colors that are being used in this, and it's just beautiful. So it's always fun to have a new catalog to play with too. All right, so in the back is the index, and the product that I'm going to be showcasing today is on page 49. It's called Linked Together, and it is this one right here. Oh, actually, I should show you the two-page spread because there's some images on the left-hand side on page 48 on some different projects. And I haven't actually done any of those ones yet. And yet I've played a lot with this one. So this is a large bundle with a stamp set and some dies, as well as a set of decorative masks. And you can purchase the pieces individually if you like. All the product numbers are here, or you can buy it as a bundle and save 10%. And that's usually the better way to go, is to do that. So this is what we're using, and my Celebration product, so that in Canada came to $81. Oh, I should have said that too. I'm coming to you from Guelph, Ontario, Canada, where it is snowing out there today. Many of us either love that or dislike that. You're kind of one or the other. And I'm just about an hour outside of Toronto. And here is the Celebration brochure, and on page 11 is the Bloom Impressions paper pack. I love our paper packs as a Celebration freebie. I'll often get the stamp sets, but the paper just speaks to me. So those are the items I'm going to be featuring today. This is my primary project. It is a stand-up little note 3x3 post-it note holder. You can fit a little bit more. In fact, you could fit a little pencil or a pen in there as well. And I've put on the front of mine a mini catalog. This is the one I buy these, no, mini calendar. I buy these mini calendars every year and make a number of these for my coworkers and friends, and I do it as a class. But you don't have to decorate it with the calendar. You can still make my project and enjoy it. But what I love about it is how it stands up so nicely, and I can put a little post-it note pad in there for use at my desk. So let's tuck that over to the side and we will get started. You're going to need some tools. You're going to need a paper trimmer with scoring blade on it. And you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. You're not going to be able to get this out of one. So I've already cut them, so let me just show you what I did. So I took a piece of 8.5 by 11, so whatever cardstock size that you have, this will work for. The imperial measurements are 3 3/4 by 10.5, so 3 3/4 across by 10.5. So I have this piece just a little bit bigger than I need, and I'll cut it down to 3 3/4. Flip the arm out by 10.5. Here we go. So that's our base for the holder. Okay, and we are going to score it in 4 places. I'll put these measurements off to the side in case you want to zoom in and grab an image of that. We are going to score it on the long side at 4 places. We're going to score it at 4 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches, and you could use your Simply Scored as well if you prefer. I just find the paper trimmer really handy. And 10 inches. So we've scored it along at 4, 8, 9, and 10. All right, we can set that aside for right now. Keep this piece for sure if you've cut it off, because you can perhaps use that for the decorative pieces we're going to cut. And then your next piece, that was piece 1, is 7 inches wide by 4 3/4, 7 inches by 4 3/4. So I'm going to trim this piece I have down if it needs it. So it's already at 4 3/4 and it's already at 7. So perfect. So from this, you would easily get 2 out of a sheet of standard cardstock. All right, we are going to score this guy along the 7-inch side. So when I say along, I mean the 7-inch side horizontal in your trimmer or simply scored. And you're going to score it at 4 and 4 1/2. So make sure you use the scoring blade. And 4 1/2. And then we're going to turn it 90 degrees, and with the 4 3/4 inch side along the top. Oh, it is. I didn't cut it down. I must have had it. Oh no, there it is. 4 3/4 along the top. You're going to score it at 1/2 an inch and 4 1/4 inches. And basically what you're doing is scoring it in a half on each side. So to make that simpler, I scored at a half on the right, and then I flip it around 180 and scored a 1/2 an inch on the other side. It's your same measurements. So if you can see those lines, that's what we've got. And then we have to do a little bit of measuring down with a ruler and cutting some off, because we want to take this piece here in the right to what my sample size is here on the left. So we need to cut off the bit at the top. So with your longer side before the score, so with your side that from the top is 4 inches down at the top, that's where we're going to do the measuring. All right, we're going to push this out of the way because we don't need this anymore. We're going to grab a ruler and a pencil. I do find it works best if I go that way, or a pen, whatever I happen to have handy here. Oh, I moved my pencil. I'll use pen, that works too. I'm going to score down 1 1/2 inches from the top. So once again, your 2 score lines are the lower part. They're down on the bottom. From the top, we're going to measure down 1 1/2 inches and put a little tick mark, and do the same thing on the other side. So you can put it on your outside edge, you can put it on your score line, whatever works for you. Put it on my outside edge here, 1 1/2 inches. And I can then either score in, but I'm pretty comfortable, I can just grab my scissors. So from your little tick mark into that horizontal score line, you're going to just cut straight through. And same on the other side. Okay, so now you've created these little cut tabs. We're going to cut that away completely. So from the top down, I'm going to cut along that score line. And you've got that little piece cut out, and same on the other side. There we go. And so you will have something that looks like the sample. So we still need to cut some tabs in. So where the 4-inch score and the 4 1/2 inch score line are, there's a little square. You're going to just cut those tabs in. Do you need to miter the edges? Probably not. We're not actually cutting these squares away, we're just using them as tabs. So then now you have it matching your sample. Now I like to keep a sample of some things with I'll maybe make take a screenshot of it and add a picture to it or something, but it kind of helps me remember those measurements and really the cutaway pieces. Okie dokie. Now we're going to do a little bit of burnishing. So grab your bone folder and we're going to burnish everything inwards. So where that cutaway piece is to my right, I'm going to fold these 3 score lines down and burnish. And where that score line's here, I'm going to fold these 3 sections up and burnish. Easy peasy. I'm going to open them up a little bit, and then I'm going to burnish up from the bottom, so the bottom being not the cutaway part, your cutaway part's at the top. I'm going to fold up my first score line and burnish, unfold it, fold my next score line and burnish. Now it's starting to take shape of a little box, isn't it? Sort of start to see how this is going to go together. So I will show you before we start gluing that this little wee tab is going to end up in the middle of these 2 layers here. So I'm going to fold these 2 in. I'm going to fold the bottom up, push those 2 little tabs in. We haven't any glue yet, and then wrap the front around. And that's how we make the box, and all the little extra tabby pieces are hidden and your open edges are to the back, which is what we want. So with that in mind, we want to add some glue here to these outside pieces. So I like liquid glue, but you know what? I think I'm actually going to use my tear and tape just for less messy today. So these are the ones that popped up. We're going to go on the outside edges of them. Probably a little more glue than you need, but better it be good and sturdy. And so then on the inside parts of the teeny flaps, that's where I'm going to put some. Tear and tape is so aptly named. And if you're on a budget and you're using a tape runner of some kind, I have measured out, and the cost of tear and tape is actually cheaper inch by inch than your tape runner one. So that's why I prefer to use it. I find it also really easy. It just goes on my wrist and I can pull it out, or I just tend to hold it in my hand. And then the adhesive for the bottom part is going also on the inside, if you will. Same side as the teeny flaps. Sometimes on my sample, I will go in and write literally a big A, an A, and an A, and then that way I know exactly where my adhesive is supposed to go, because you forget from time to time. Alrighty, so let's get these little tabs out of the way. And you might be concerned that we haven't decorated the inside. I'm before it folds. I'm okay with that. It's not. I don't put the paper piece. It doesn't go necessarily all the way down, so I'll be able to stick it in there just fine. All right, so we're going to take the teeny flaps. Oh, we got to take this adhesive off first, and we're going to fold that up like so on one side. Turn it over, remove the tab, the backing of the tear and tape there, move it off, remove it off the large back piece, and fold it up. This way you're going to have glue to glue, and you've got adhesive here, and you're going to have adhesive on this wee tab, and they're going to glue nicely together. So remove the last bit and the last bit. I also don't put my designer series paper on just in case I goof up on my box, and then I'm like, oh no, I've wasted that pretty paper. We can't have that. So it's another way for me to sort of go, okay, scrap the box, we'll go back and do the box. But look at that, it came together beautifully. I love it. So you could put other things in here. I have the Post-it note. You could instead put your decorative piece on the front if you're not using a calendar, and you could put pens in there, or pencils, or whatever else you want. This could maybe sit on your craft desk, and you could stick a few things in there. It's not super tall, but you'll figure it out. You can put different things. You can probably put, you fit dimensionals. Oh, lovely. It could be a dimensional holder too. Oh, I like that. I hadn't thought of that before. That's one thing. I've got lots of little holders on my craft desk for my blocks and my glue and my tools, but I don't have anything for my dimensionals. And so that could be something that I do with that. Let's get some of this trash out of the way so I can fly into the camera. And we have that part. So now we're going to go back to that larger piece of coordinating cardstock that we worked with. I think it looks a bit like Pool Party on the camera, but I assure you this is the Summer Splash. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 score lines on this, and the bottom piece here of this back fold, that's where the small pieces are. So we're going to fold the teeniest one, which is 1/2 inch in, and we're going to fold the next one back. So we're doing some Mountain Valley folds, and then the next one over, so that we create this little mechanism. I'll show it to you this way. So that's the smallest 1/2 inch. We go up and down, and then this has to come around and glue together. So I'm going to put that down there as a reference. So this piece, larger piece, comes right over and glues to the small 1/2 inch strip. If you get the folds going in the wrong direction, don't worry. It's so easy to fold them back the right way, so don't worry about that. So we're basically creating the easel part to this that this box is going to attach to. So with it looking like this, I'm going to put my adhesive on this small 1/2 inch strip. And I would use tear and tape pretty exclusively for something like this because I want it to be good and well stuck down, and you could sit there and hold it for a few seconds if you like, if you're using liquid glue, but with tear and tape I find it stays adhered nicely for me. There we go. So now all you need to decide is where you want that seam. I'm going to tuck it to the back. So where the 1/2 inch came up, I'm going to tuck it to the back, and then I'm going to glue this other box to the front. And so having two, rather than just making the box and not having this top piece, having two together makes that just a little bit sturdier. So now we need some glue on here, and I'm going to put liquid glue. I'll have a minute or two to do a few other measurements before I'm on to the next spot. So I'll just put it flush to the table and I'll wiggle it into place nicely. Press it down. Sometimes you can even stick your bone folder inside your box and give it a press that way. That helps a little bit. There we go. All right, so now it's to the fun part where we get to decorate. So I have a piece of the Bloom's Impressions, if you'll remember, paper. So I want to show you that paper right here. This is gorgeous. So the marbling side, I'm going to show you all 12 sheets by showing you the one side. So this is the back of the next one. So there's one with all of this color, and then there's gorgeous, and it is directional. Doesn't look like it, but once you look at those little bits of green, you'll see that they're all flowing up. So that's a bit of a directional paper. And then another marbled piece in, I'm trying to go from the name of the papers, and I should get my little backing sheet off. Did you know the backing sheet of all your patterned paper has this? So if I put this into a different packaging on my desk, I will cut this piece out or leave the whole sheet whole so that I can easily see the colors that are in it. So the colors in here are Azure Afternoon, Blackberry Bliss, that's this beautiful color here, Blueberry Bushel, which is the blue, Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Melon Mambo, Peach Pie, Petunia Pop, Pumpkin Pie, and Shy Shamrock. So sorry, that's Shy Shamrock. I'm mixing Shy Shamrock and Summer Splash Up on a regular basis. I think they're fairly interchangeable, so I'm not going to overlook it or overthink it too much. Then this gorgeous piece of florals, some beautiful peach pie on that. This is the back of this. So this is very similar layout and idea to this page here. I like that they do that because sometimes when I'm doing a class, I want to use a whole pack, especially if it's a freebie pack, and I don't have quite enough from the 2 sheets like this. And so I'll have people use the same pattern, same orientation, just in a different color. So I like when that comes together that way. And then here we are with the Shy Shamrock little white flowers, another version of the green spriggy ones, more pretty melon mambo flowers, and this one here, and then some blue azure afternoon marbling. So it is a gorgeous, bright, oh, whoops, I missed you at the back. This one pattern here, which is a little bit larger floral, and I've used on cards and such. So this is a gorgeous pop of color for this time of year. Who doesn't love it? So what I need for my project is 3.5 inches wide by 3 inches long. So we'll grab the paper trimmer again. And this is, we need 2 pieces. One is 3.5 wide by 3 long. So I'm already at 3.5 wide, and one is 3.5 by 2.25 long, which means if this is 5.25, we are in business. Perfect. So 3.5 wide, keeping in mind the directional, by 3 inches long. So I'm going to cut this down to 3. And then a piece that's 3.5 by 2.25. Great. Got both pieces ready to rock. Okay. So the smaller one goes on the bottom, and you could add a smaller layer around if you like. That's between the 2 measurements. And I would probably do that in Melon Mambo. So let's do that. I've got a scrap piece of Melon Mambo here, and I'll show you how I make a layer. So I know that this piece is 3.5 by 2.25, and I want it to go up not a full usual layer. I want it to go up half that. So it's going to be 3 3/8 by 2, sorry, 3 5/8. 3 5/8. 3.5, 3 5/8 by 2 3/8. Measuring on the fly. There we go. So I just popped it up 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And so then my other piece will be 3 5/8, which it's already cut to, by 3 1/8. Oh, and that's pretty much there. Perfect. Well, that scrap worked out nicely, didn't it? There we go. And so that is going to add a little bit more depth to my pretty project here. Excuse me. All right, so let's put these lovely layers together. Do you ever do that? You make a project and then you decide, oh, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to add something to it. Why not? As I mentioned at the top of this video, it is snowing out there. We are going to be getting out and shoveling not too long from now to get ahead of it. And then if the sun comes out, we get a little bit of the sun doing some work for us to melt that snow and ice underneath. Sometimes it warms up a bit in the afternoon, so if we're lucky. Okie dokie. There we go. Now we're ready to add these to our project, like so. And that just adds another little pop of color. So I'm going to use my liquid glue for this. A little bit goes a long way if you're new to liquid glue. I have tended to just do this as my technique, just a quick liquidy, I don't know, it's a little line, but I have customers that go dot, 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 and that works really well for them for keeping their glue from getting out of control. Because as I mentioned, a little bit goes a long way, and if you get too much, not so cool. All right, so I'm going to turn this down on the table and slide my bone folder in just to press it into place. And of course, we built it. And make sure, of course, when you put it in that your leaves are right side up, because I can't tell you how many times I've done that incorrectly. And by not having to put a whole layer, because you're not even going to see it from the inside, you save a little bit of paper and pattern paper. Okay, so that's straight. I'll just use my bone folder inside to help press it into place. Super. Okay, let's get to decorating. I'm going to bring my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in. So with the dies with this set linked together, you can get away with using the mini, which is kind of handy. So I need a few scraps. I need some scrap white for the label. I need some scrap matching green to this to do the leaves, and some scrap peach pie and melon mambo for the flowers. Let's grab that set of dies. So I didn't show you this when I showed you from the video, from the catalog. So let me show you what it looks like. It shows you the stamp set and all the beautiful greetings. And something I'll mention, down at the bottom, sometimes on the stamp set case, it'll say at 85% or 95% or something like that. If it doesn't say anything like that down here to the left of the item number, it means that what you see is the exact size of those stamps. They're not reduced to fit on this piece of paper, which is kind of handy if you're using it to put, say, a die over top to see if it's going to fit on your die or your punched shape. Open it up. Now I store most of my dies in with their corresponding stamp set. If it's ones like circles or squares or something that I use all the time, I keep them just up on my little board by my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But I'll just put a little magnet sheet. And these are kind of some cheapo magnet sheets in here, so they don't stay great. But I'll put them on there inside. And then this one also has some decorative masks, which I'm going to show you in my bonus projects that I also used. Okay, so the greeting we need is "Oh Happy Day." There we go. So we need a block. We had a block. We're just doing one little bit of stamping. That's right. And so I'm going to have it says "A Happy Day" on the stamp. I'm going to just use it to say "Oh Happy Day." And I'm going to take my little O, which is another OH, another little stamp. I was wondering if I had a smaller block. No, this does. This works. And that's how I'm going to get the O on there. All right, and I'm going to need this die for the oval for the greeting, and I'm going to use the larger of the two leaf images for these, and I'm going to need these flowers. Now what I love about the flowers is this is 4-in-1, and so you get a lot of extra cutouts, and 2-in-1 on this one, and I'm going to layer those up. So I love how it does that, because I end up with a little zippy bag here, or one of our card bags, cello bags, with leftovers. So if I want to quickly do a project, I've got a whole bunch of these leftovers, and I leave them with the case, so I have those handy. Let's do some die cutting first. I'm actually going to turn it this way. Get my plates ready to roll here. And I'm going to do the green leaves. Now if I wanted this to stick down fully on a card and I don't want these pieces to be loose at all, I would put adhesive sheets on the back of my paper before cutting. But that's not the case. I'm going to have them nice and loose here, so I don't need any adhesive sheets. So I'm going to cut one. Sorry, it's wiggly. Everything's on the same wiggly table, camera and all. And if you find when you cut it out that your pieces get stuck inside, just grab take your pick tool and give it a little push through the ejection holes that are there. There's 4 or 5, whatever, on the die, and then you can grab it easily to pull it out. Okay, so there's one. We're going to do another one. And this piece, I just cut it, or probably was a scrap, but cut it to just the piece size that I need. Run this through. I love having my mini at the desk because I don't have to get up. when I'm in the zone and I'm ready to be crafting away and I don't want to have to get up and go to the cutting table. So it's kind of handy right there for these little pieces if I'm not doing a lot of embossing with embossing folders. And then I can get up and go and do the other stuff at the cutting table. All right, our next piece is going to be Melon Mambo. And for this, I want 2 of the big flowers and 1 of the small flowers. So I'm going to do both dies at the same time. I'm going to end up with a few extra pink ones. I'm just checking my stash to see I do not have any extra Melon Mambo. So now I will. Or I can add them to it in some other fashion. Put some on the front too, right? Get creative, get more creative. There we go. So once again, they like to stick. And so if we want to remove them, we just hit the ejection holes and they pop right out. 1 die. And we're going to go through and do some of these with the other color. I just need 1 of those. Now I need some in peach pie. So let's pop the peach pie on there and we'll do exactly the same thing. I don't mind having extras. Pop that on there. And sometimes that helps me decide what I'm going to do with a card. I'll be like, I need flowers. And I'll open a case with flowers in it and boom, there's some extras there ready to go. We just need 1 for this project of this guy, and we need 2 of the little ones, little flowers. All right, we got all our pieces cut out for that. And then I'm going to cut my stamp, my greeting piece, because I find that if I try to put 2 stamps together on a shape and then cut it out, invariably I put them too far apart or that. This way I know exactly where I'm going to put them. So I'm using this lovely oval that comes in the set, which I've used a lot. There we go. And we're going to do some fun way of stamping to get this to turn out the way we want. So I want the O up here in the corner, trying to get that kind of straight. And then for the happy day, I don't want the A in there. So I can do a couple things. I can take 1 of my little Post-it notes and cover it up. So let me show you that way of doing it. I could use my markers. I could use my Stampin' Write markers. I find that when I'm mixing Stampin' Write markers images with regular ink images, sometimes the depth of ink is not the same. So I like to go with one method using either the stamp pad or the Stampin' Write markers. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to cover up the word the A, and then I'm going to ink it up. So I'm inking up the stamp. Now you could probably try to not get that in there. I'm not that good, so I find that it's easier for me to cover it up. So I add my ink. And then you got to remove this, otherwise you're going to have a mess. And get it right way up. And I'm going to kind of put this a little bit below center. There we go, and that's how I get just happy day. And I'll get my O, OH, and I will put it above that. And I did put it this way to the left for a reason, and that was so that my pretty flowers could go to the right. So that's it for stamping. Pretty easy, huh? Now it's time to build some flowers, which is fun. So you might want to use glue dots for this one. Up to you. So I think I'll start by putting my branches on the back. And when I put this on, I'm gluing it right down. Okay, there's no dimensionals happening here. So I'm going to glue these towards the bottom, and it'll be hidden underneath the holder. So you won't see where I've glued them. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue there. Or like I said, you could use glue dots, whatever works best for you. Get it right side up here. Probably want a little bit more. There we go. And if you're worried about sticking this in an envelope to gift it away, then you want to think about how far over your little leaves are going to go. I'm not doing that. This one's sitting on my desk, so I don't have to worry about that. And I do kind of want them, I don't want them up or anything. I want them on either side like that. So I will put some more glue here. Just something to think about when you're adding bits like this to the front of your cards and projects, that you don't want it to extend beyond the edge of the card so that it doesn't fit in the envelope. There we go. This one actually looks better. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to work on the flowers. So we have 2 Melon Mambo large, and because they have circles in the middle, and I'm using a wee bit of liquid glue, I am going to put some gems in between. So I'm kind of going around the circle there and fitting this onto its backing circle. I'm lining the circles up so that it's as even as I can make it. See that? So when I put the 2 together, I lined the circle up. And the last one. So what would you do with this project? Would you make this project? Is this something you could see making to put on your desk or as a gift for somebody? I think so. So let's add our little flowers. So now I'm going to be mindful of not putting any glue on the ones that are near the bottom, that are sticking off the white. I don't want any glue on them because I don't want them to stick over the edge and be sticky. Sticky where I don't want the sticky. Think about that for a second. Yeah, I can pretty much go in with glue. And then my plan was to stick one up here in the corner. So those 2 won't have any glue on them. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed today and yesterday, or you will enjoy today and you've enjoyed yesterday. We love putting this together. Lots of demonstrator styles you'll see from different people from different parts of the world, and different ways of doing things. And so it's always fun to learn from other people instead of the same thing you see over and over again. And that you'll tune in, watch the videos if you've missed them. I need to catch up on yesterday's because I was working, and I'll get an opportunity to do that. So these are the Sunny Day iridescent dots, 2 different sizes on them. This is also, of course, in the mini catalog. And I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool to add some to this. I used all Melon Mambo when I did this last time. So I'll do the same thing here. I prefer smaller when there's 2 sizes of dots, personally. It's just a thing I have, and so I tend to use all those up and then keep those for my very special projects. I don't know. Is that what you do? Do you like them? Do you like them equally? Do you like to change them up? Tell me. Let us know. Okay, so there's those dots set aside. Now we're just ready to put this on. So I want to glue only the bottom half of this semicircle, so kind of below the leaves. And I think actually I'll use some tear and tape. Keep it controlled here. I'll put 2 strips of tear and tape. That'll be sufficient for what I need it to do. And you can do it different ways. You can glue your circle down after the leaves are on and then build it from there. You do you. This is how I do it, and this is what works for me. All right, so then I'm just going to take a peek to make sure I get all my adhesive stuck down and not peeking through. There we go. And that's the project. So then if you have these mini catalogs, I get them from the US, tailoredexpressions.com. We have them shipped up here. And I would then glue it down on here. I haven't actually designed this to have a little bit more of a border up, but this time I'm going to leave that open because I'm going to use this one for something different. And if you have a 3x3, you can slide that in there too. You can adjust the height, whatever you need. But that's my main project. So I hope you liked it. I hope you give it a try. All right, and then beyond that, I have a couple of other cards that I made with this beautiful bundle, which I love, and I've done a lot with it. So this is using the flowers. Oops, one of my rhinestones has taken flight, so I will grab those after and add another rhinestone on there. This is Poppy Parade. That's my cheat sheet. Poppy Parade, and I've used the exposed brick embossing folder. The new painting plaster would look equally nice on this. For the dies in this one, so that's your standard card base and a standard layer, which here in North America is 4 1/4 by 11 with a piece of 4 1/4, sorry, 4 by 5 1/4 on the inside, and then my layer is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I took the lattice die, I put adhesive sheets on it, and then I die cut it out in white. So I put adhesive sheets on the white and then die cut it out, and then added a black mat behind this die cut out, which made it really pop off the page. I used the So Happy For You stamp greeting on here. So this one is So Happy For You is all one. That's Poppy Parade, some flowers in Poppy Parade from the same dies. And then the shorter leaves I used on this one so that I could make them look like they're all actually attached to a stem. And I just pop that on top. Oh goodness, my rhinestones are running amok. We can't have that. I'll have to glue them down. And then my other card used, that is my bonus project, uses the decorative masks. So one thing you'll notice with the decorative masks is that they're numbered, and that can sometimes help for what you're planning to do. And look at that, number 1 is number 1 missing. Oh, do you know, I was using it the other day, so there are 4 in here, and I have washed it. It's sitting and drying. So basically what I did was I used some Highland Heather ink, and I used the one die that has the little lattice on it. I put it on the piece of white, and I added with blending brush, and then I added the second mask over top, removed the little dotted one, and used this to add a little bit, oh yeah, right, it was Gorgeous Grape on the little dotted ones, and then Highland Heather to be a lighter touch on this one. You just use whatever colors you like, and that's the colors I have here: Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, and some Bubble Bath with my flowers, doing the same kind of technique I used on my primary project, and stamp the greeting over top of all that mask work. And I love that it says enjoy. And I know what I'm going to do with this card. It's for a friend that I'm going to see on stage in a couple of months, and hoping that she has an amazing time at On Stage. All right, there we go. That's my 3 projects featuring the linked together bundle, and for a celebration choice, the Bloom Impressions Designer Series paper. So great. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of this. Katie's up next at the top of the hour, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care. Bye.